Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Corbitt, and that's Corbitt, and I'm a sergeant with the City of Tallahassee Police Department.
And how long have you worked with TPD?
29 years and 11 months.
And what unit are you in at TPD?
I currently supervise the Technical Operations Unit.
Can you tell me a little bit about your training and experience in order to supervise the Technical Operations Unit?
Certainly. I have just under 2,000 hours of general technical training, which would cover sort of all realms of law enforcement technology, camera installations, audio, video monitoring, forensics, all kinds of, again, all the ways that we use technology to assist in criminal investigations. I have just over 1,000 hours of that is dedicated to communication record analysis or cell phone analysis. And that includes the obtaining, analysis, mapping, all the things that we do with communication records specifically to assist in criminal investigations.
Okay, and have you also taught in the field of digital forensics?
I do. I teach communication record analysis to law enforcement officers, other law enforcement agencies, prosecutors associations, other groups. Yes.
And how long have you been supervisor of that unit?
Since 2012.
How many hours of specialized training in historical communication records analysis do you have?
Just over 1,000.
And what is historical communication record analysis?
Communication or historical communication record analysis would be kind of a general term for the use of communication records. And when I talk about communication records, I mean primarily cell phone records, records that we get from the carriers. They may be forensic records or reports that we get when we're able to do a forensic analysis of a phone, when we have the actual device and can download data. But we take all that information and we analyze it really in whatever way the investigator or the investigation needs. Oftentimes that's location analysis. We're trying to put handsets, are they consistent or could they have been at the scene of a crime? Could they have been somewhere else? Where might other evidence be? So a lot of that work has to do with the locations of the handsets. Sometimes it's communications, who communicated with who, when, how often, those kind of things to help establish relationships. There's really a number of ways that we can use those records and the analysis of those records, again, to assist in the criminal investigations.
And have you ever testified in court in the field of historical communication records analysis where you've given an expert opinion?
I have, yes.
About how many times?
123.
And those are all my questions as to his qualifications, Judge.
Defense wish to voir dire the witness.
There you are.
Is there a challenge to his ability to provide an opinion in the field of historical communication record analysis?
There you are.
Members of the jury, while this witness testifies today, he will be permitted to provide you with an opinion in the area of historical communication record analysis. You may continue.
So in your position at TPD, you mentioned that part of your everyday duties is going to be pulling cell phone records from cell phone companies. Is that right?
That's correct.
And are those records called call detail records?
That's sort of a general term that we give to a broad range of records. Call detail records, we generally talk about specific call logs, and maybe voice or text. We have other types of reports, subscriber information, other types of location reports that are more specific, but generally, yes, we call that whole group of records call detail records.
Are those types of records ones that are kept in the normal course of business of phone companies?
They are, yes.
And are they kept by an automated system that would have knowledge of those or of those calls and text communications?
Yes.
Are you familiar with how to read and interpret the records?
I am, yes.
And in this case, did you review phone records for State's Exhibit 91, call detail records of Luis Rivera, 92, call detail records of Sigfredo Garcia, 93, call detail records of Wendi Adelson, 94, call detail records of Donna Adelson, 95, Charlie Adelson's call detail records, 96, Harvey Adelson's call detail records, And 97, Catherine McManus call detail records. And finally, 98, Dan Markel's call detail records.
Yes.
Okay. And did all those call detail records come with a certification from each phone carrier certifying that those are authentic records of that carrier?
They did, yes.
Just 1 second. I'm going to show you States 55, which is already in evidence. I got to turn you off and turn you back on here. Actually, I'll just show it to you so you can remain down. Looking at States 55, this is our chart.
Yes.
Okay, here. Do you see some phone numbers below each person's face and name?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been able to review a chart like that before?
Yes.
Okay. Looking at those numbers, are those the numbers for each person that correspond with the call detail records that you reviewed for each person and you're going to be testifying about in your testimony?
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you. At this time, Your Honor, I would move into evidence States Exhibit 91 through 98, the certified business records.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
States 91 through 98 are admitted.
Thank you. In addition to all of those call detail records we just went through, did you also review traffic tickets that were received in the summer of 2014 by Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera?
I did, yes.
Did you also review car rental agreements, 2 from Comfort Rental in Miami and 1 from Save Gas Rental in Miami?
I did, yes.
Did you also review surveillance video from Premier Gym, as well as from Spirion, which is a GPS company that is the company that has the GPSs on the rental car?
Yes, to be clear, the Premier was video, the GPS was latitude, longitude coordinates.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And did you base your opinions in this case? Oh, and did you also receive, in addition to all those things, Cellbrights and returns from subpoenas from email addresses as well?
Yes, so there were forensic analysis conducted of several handsets and, yes, an iCloud or multiple iCloud accounts.
Okay, that gave you access to emails as well?
And separate actual email legal demand returns.
Okay. Did you base your opinions in this case on all of those records that we just discussed?
Yes.
Now, are many of those records voluminous? I'm talking hundreds, even thousands of pages.
Yes, they are.
Did you prepare, instead of having to go through each page for the jury during this presentation, did you prepare a summary in order to show the jury what the phone company's records say in correlation with the other evidence in this case about the subjects in this case, phone activity and locations?
Yes.
And will you be relying on that summary for your testimony here today?
I will, yes.
I want to quickly, also in the summary, are there excerpts from Cellbrights?
Yes.
What is a Cellbright?
Well, a Cellbright has come to mean many things. When we do forensic examinations of computers or phones, we use a variety of different forensic tools. One of the more common ones that we use is a product from Cellbright, and often the most common report format. So once we do that forensic analysis, then it generates a report for us that allows us to visualize all of that information, location information, text message content, emails. And so that report is generally called a cell break report.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, I would move State's Exhibit 73, which is going to be, or which is the summary of all of these records that Sergeant Corbitt has put together and he'll be testifying to today, a summary that will go into evidence with the jury, subject to the court's ruling.
Very well. Any objection?
Subject to the court's ruling.
73 is admitted. You may continue.
Okay. Now, did you also create a PowerPoint of this summary to use on the projector here in court during your testimony?
Yes, actually, that's a representation of the PowerPoint.
Okay. And some of the items that are in the PowerPoint that are already in evidence, emails and that sort of thing, they won't be in the summary, but we will go over those in your PowerPoint, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. All right. Judge, at this time, I'd ask for permission for Sergeant Corbitt to use his PowerPoint to show a demonstrative of the summary exhibit.
You may proceed.
Thank you.
You'll need to unmute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just waiting for you. Okay. All right, so you told us what call detail records from phone companies are. Can you tell us, or can you show us an example of what they look like and show us what's contained in them?
I can. So this is an example of call detail records from AT&T. And again, when we talk about call detail records, we're talking about this chronological listing of events. And those events may be voice calls, text messages, data sessions. And that varies a little bit by carrier as to what exactly they retain and provide for us in the call detail records return. But the call detail records have a few basic sections. Obviously, there's a place that tells us the date and time of this event. And oftentimes, those may be in other time zones. So we have to do a conversion to our local time to make sure that we're talking about the accurate time for that event. But that's one basic section. The other section tells us the phone numbers. So obviously we have the target number or the number for which the records were obtained. And then we have the other numbers that that number is communicating with. So here we see, again, the phone numbers being communicated with. If it's voice calls, we see a duration or how long that phone call lasted. And we can tell sort of if these are incoming or outgoing calls based on which phone number is doing the originating or terminating. So from this section of the records, we look at, again, calling patterns, calling frequencies, those things. There's a few other pieces of information there, but the other one that we frequently look at is here, which is the location information. And for these particular records, they provide us both a numerical identifier for the location of that cell site, and they also provide a latitude and longitude. And again, this is the location of the cell site or cell tower that the handset was communicating with for that particular event. This is not a location for the phone, but again, rather the tower that it's communicating with.
And can you quickly kind of explain more about how you determine a location from that information to be able to know what the location is of a cell phone at a certain time?
Sure. So very simply, we'll take the location of the cell site and we will plot that on a map. And in this presentation, we will see several locations for handsets, and they may be represented by a colored dot, as you see here, a blue dot. And so that dot represents a location of the cell site or the cell tower for that example event that we were looking at. And sometimes just knowing where the cell site is itself is sufficient. We know that a handset chooses to communicate with the cell site that it sees with the best available signal. And that's usually the one that it's closest to, although there are numbers of factors that affect what cell tower or cell site a handset might choose to communicate with. So sometimes just knowing where the cell tower is enough. But we also know that most of our cell sites are broken down into multiple sides or sectors. It means they have antennas that are facing different directions. And the cell carrier, the company, most often provides us not only with the location of the cell site, but also the side or the sector that the handset was communicating with. So here we would generally expect that one sector covers about halfway to the next sector. You can see some dashed lines that are drawn here, and that would be the approximate transition areas around the cell site. So in theory, if you were to get in your car and drive circles around a cell site, you would transition from sector to sector as you went round and round. And from that, again, we would expect certain locations relative to certain sectors to be serviced by that part of the cell site, which we can kind of see here. When we display those or we see those, here, this particular cell site that was, or sector that was used for this event was at 215 degrees. And that's the cardinal direction, like 360 degrees. So this is at 215, a little past due south, a little to the west. And you can see that that is illustrated here by the large blue arrow. So when we're representing a cell site and sector that the handset was using, we will use a large colored arrow so we know that's the particular sector that was being communicated with. And when we do our analysis, again, we understand that that sector goes approximately halfway around to the other sectors. And so when we do our location analysis, we would include or exclude certain locations. And we would say that locations that are in close proximity and on the right side of the cell site and sector are possible locations for the handset, and then other locations might not be.
Can you say exactly or precisely where on this map a certain cell phone is?
No.
Okay, but you would be able to tell us what cell site that cell phone is communicating with if it has location data, and the sector of the cell site, the particular sector that it's communicating with.
Yes, so one of the basic things is we can only make a determination about where a handset was when we have a record or an event. And while different companies and different handsets and different technologies create different amounts of records, we can only, again, make a determination when we have a record. And then, yes, we will know the location of that cell site, the orientation of the sector in most cases. And historical location analysis is about inclusion and exclusion. And we look at a location and we say, yes, this address is included in the service area, based on our opinion, is included in the service area of this particular cell site and sector, or no, a handset at the location you gave me would not be serviced by this particular cell site and sector. So we include and exclude locations. We do not say exactly where a handset was.
And is your way of saying that, you say whether a certain location is consistent or inconsistent?
Yes.
Okay. And do you sometimes get records with no location data at certain times?
That is correct, yes.
You mentioned Cellbrights. How do you extract data, or how does a Cellbright that you've extracted from a cell phone, how does it look different in the actual Cellbright report versus what we're going to see in your presentation?
So this is, and I'm on slide 11 here, this is an example of a page from a Cellbright forensic analysis report. And so when we're able to select a variety of different information from within the Cellbright report and create smaller reports or sort of export different pieces of data, text messages, call logs. And we can see in the actual forensic report, there is a lot of information that is contained. They try to make it appear like a conversation we're kind of all familiar with the bubbles going back and forth. But there is a lot of information that's contained in there. They are very technical and very detailed reports. So when we represent those in the presentation, to make it easier to read the actual content, we may do something more like this. So we will provide a visual indicator of who is issuing that communication, who sent that text message, and then we will focus on the content of that. But again, it's taken from that forensic report, just put into this format so it's a little easier for us to follow.
Can you walk us through Dan Markel's location on the morning that he was murdered?
Yes. So we do know, and I'm on slide 14 now, we do know that the morning of the homicide, he was at home at his residence on Trescott Drive. He did drop his children off at Creative Preschool. He went to Premier Health and Fitness and then returned to his home on Trescott Drive.
And did TPD believe that whoever shot Dan Markel was at these same locations that he was at that morning?
We did believe that him being under surveillance was a definite possibility.
Okay. And was there a Prius that was identified based on surveillance images following him that morning?
There was, from the Premier Health and Fitness.
Okay. How did TPD try to identify who was in the Prius from the phone records perspective?
So one of the first things that we did is what we call a tower dump. And that is just a request of the carriers to provide us all of the transactions that occurred through cell sites that may service a particular location for a very particular or specific time frame. So if we know that Mr. Markel was around his house at a certain time, then we can request all the phones that were around his house. And if we know he was at Creative Preschool at a certain time, then we could request all of the cell phones that may be in the area of Creative Preschool at the same time he was. Same for Premier Health and Fitness. And then we would hope that the only cell phones that would be in those exact locations at those exact times would either be Mr. Markel or whoever was following him. So that's kind of the purpose of the tower dump.
And which companies had cell sites in the areas of those locations?
We had AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon, our major carriers at that time.
All right, so were search warrants sent to all those carriers for all of the records for the numbers who were using cell sites servicing each of those locations?
Yes.
And did you receive a lot of records in return?
Yes, we did.
Okay, just a moment. I want to ask you specifically about States Exhibit 101, which is going to be the T-Mobile tower dump records, States Exhibit 102, the AT&T tower dump records, States Exhibit 103, the Verizon tower dump records, and States 104, the Sprint tower dump records. When you received those for all four carriers, do they contain a certification certifying that they are authentic records from each of those companies?
Yes.
Okay, and did you review those records and rely on those records in your determining your results or your opinions in this case?
Yes.
At this time, I'd move States Exhibit 101 through 104 into evidence.
States 101 through 104 is admitted.
Okay, so a lot of records to go through. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Did law enforcement eventually find any one number at all of those locations where Markel was located that morning?
We did not find one number common to all of those locations.
Since you couldn't find a number with common events at all those locations, did you cross-reference all of the records with all of the phone records you had from the Adelson family to see if any of the numbers from the tower dump showed up in any of the Adelson family records?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and what did you find?
So, as I mentioned, we did not receive, or we did not find one number that was common to all of those locations. That does not necessarily mean that the other handsets were not there, but we go back to if there's no events, then there's no records and there's nothing for us to compare to. But what we did have from the tower dump were a number of reports with cell phone numbers of cell phones or handsets that were present at those specific locations and times for us to look at or compare. What we also had was a number of CDRs or communication records from various subjects in the investigation. We use analytical software to kind of help us out with this, to crunch large numbers, but we were able to actually compare all of the handsets that were here in Tallahassee around those specific locations and times with all of the records, the phones and the phones that they were communicating with for all of our subjects in the investigation. And what we did find is, and this is slide 19, we did find a common number, this 7. That was a phone number that was present here in Tallahassee around the Premier Health and Fitness, that was also in the call detail records for one of the subjects of the investigation.
And was that subject Harvey Adelson?
It was, yes.
And is this Harvey Adelson?
It is, yes.
Okay, and this is an example of his call detail records?
That is correct.
Okay, so Harvey Adelson is the husband of Donna Adelson, father of Charlie Adelson and Wendi Adelson?
Correct.
All right, can you give us more information about this call that you found?
So what we see, and this is just an excerpt, I'm on slide 20, from Mr. Adelson's, Harvey Adelson's call detail records for July 1st of 2014, and we see that 786 number we just spoke about. And this is a good example of some of the things we see with call detail records. It looks like 3 calls or 3 entries here, but this is actually just one event. And in the records, we also see the kind of the routing or the way they call, like this one that was routed to voicemail, how it kind of traverses through the network. But these are 3 lines, or it looks like 3 events, but this is just one incoming phone call from that 786 number. And again, that was on July 1st of 2014 at 5:20 p.m.
Okay, so here we have this one call on July 1st, 2014. What was the duration of this one call?
The duration is listed as 37 seconds.
And 37 seconds as in, does that include the amount of time that it's taking a phone to ring?
In this case, it does not. They do provide us both a seizure time, which is how long the phone rings or how long it takes to connect, and then an overall duration.
Okay, so a 37-second call. Do we know whether this call was routed to voicemail?
This call indicates that it was routed to voicemail.
Okay, so the 37 seconds, would that include an amount of time for a voicemail to play and an amount of time for a message to be left, if a message was left?
It could, yes.
Was there any other communication in all of the phone records that you have between the 786 number you found and Harvey Adelson's phone?
No.
Who did the 786 number belong to?
So the 786 number belonged to Sigfredo Garcia.
Okay. Just a second. Okay. In Sigfredo Garcia, were you able to do a frequency report for his phone records?
Yes.
What is a frequency report?
So I'm here on slide 22, and this is an example of a frequency report. And a frequency report is just going back to that analytical software that we talked about. It can tell us, or it can rank the most frequently contacted numbers for any particular target number. So it is able to rank for us in kind of from most to least frequently contacted all of the unique numbers that Mr. Garcia's phone communicated with. Now, in a frequency report like this, it would include incoming calls, outgoing calls, text messages. Unless we go in and limit the things that we're asking for, it would include all sorts of events, even some of those routing events that we saw on Mr. Adelson's records. So we don't really look at this as an exact number. We don't say, and we see here that in Mr. Garcia's frequency report, his most frequently contacted number is a number that ends in 13. We see that it assigned a frequency of over 1,600 calls. That may not mean that they actually spoke 1,600 times, but within the records, there are over 1,600 lines or events associated with that particular phone number.
Okay. And looking at this date range, you said the number ending in 1312 was his most frequent contact. Who did that number belong to?
That number belonged to Miss Catherine Magbanowa.
Did you run a frequency report for her?
Same. Again, looking at the most frequently appearing number in the records, we see that her second most frequent number, the 9223, obviously the 5986 was Mr. Garcia's number.
Okay. And who did the 954254 belong to?
Mr. Adelson, Charlie Adelson.
So this is the son of Donna Adelson.
Correct.
And was Donna Adelson one of Charlie Adelson's most frequent contacts?
Yes. Again, using the frequency report just to get an idea of relationships and maybe degrees of relationships, we do see that Miss Donna Adelson's number that ends in 0997 is, at that point, his fifth most frequent communicated number.
Okay. And this is for this particular date range on the frequency report.
That is correct.
Why do we see such small numbers there?
I'm sorry?
We see very small numbers. Does that mean he just talks to a lot of different numbers? Maybe more numbers than we saw Catherine Magbanowa might normally speak to on a daily basis?
Do you mean small numbers on the frequency column?
Frequency, yes, sir.
So the frequency percentage column we see here is obviously the percentage of calls for that particular number versus all the numbers that this particular phone number communicates with. So if you only communicate with very few numbers, then your percentage for each of those numbers is going to be relatively large. Charlie Adelson communicated with a number of unique phone numbers, so the overall percentage is a little lower. Because again, he had a lot more unique numbers that he communicated with.
Did you do a frequency, or I'm sorry, so who does the 954 Adelson, did you do a frequency report for her?
Correct. And we see here, this is slide 28. We see that the 9223 of Mr. Charlie Adelson for this date range is her most frequently contacted number.
Did any other number appear in the tower dump records you received from the phone carriers who was a frequent contact of Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes. As I move on to slide 29, going back to Mr. Garcia's frequency report, and again comparing the numbers that the subjects of the investigation communicated with versus numbers that were physically present in Tallahassee, either around Premier or around Mr. Markel's residence or Creative Preschool, what we did find was this 305 number that was, again, present in Mr. Garcia's records. One of his more frequently contacted numbers was also physically here in Tallahassee.
And who did that number belong to?
That number belonged to Mr. Luis Rivera.
Can we see your next slide of the organizational chart, please? Did anybody in this chart have phone contact with Garcia or Rivera, down at the bottom, during 2014, other than the one 37-second call between Garcia and Harvey Adelson on July 1st, and obviously Catherine Magbanowa?
No.
All right, I want to go back to that July 1st 37-second call that was routed to voicemail. Was it your understanding that that call came after an incident where Garcia angrily confronted Magbanowa and Charlie Adelson on July 1st of 2014?
Yes.
Okay, and then Garcia left an angry voicemail on Harvey Adelson's phone.
Correct.
Were there text messages in Charlie Adelson's iCloud that referenced that event?
There were.
Okay, and do you have those for us here?
I do. So this is slide 35 now, cumulatively, and we see the communication between Mr. Charlie Adelson and Ms. Magbanowa.
Okay, so if this is July 2nd, beginning at, is that 9:12 a.m.?
Yes.
So this would be the morning after that voicemail is left on Harvey Adelson's phone
That's correct.
by Garcia.
That's correct.
Can you walk us through these messages?
Certainly. So Charlie Adelson states that this really sucks, and Ms. Bagbano responds in a couple of messages that she doesn't like the fact that someone thinks they can make decisions in her life, and then apologize, and that the leaving messages was retarded and childish.
Okay. And does she say to Charlie Adelson on July 2nd, I'm sorry, but he's a effing pussy. All that leaving messages is, as you said, and so childish.
Yes,
Okay. But whatever.
but whatever.
Okay. All right. Can we go back to our chart? I want to ask you a little bit about the communication and emails between these parties. Did law enforcement look at the communication and emails between these parties to see if anyone seemed to have a motive to kill Dan Markel?
They did, yes.
Okay. I want to go through just a couple of these. I think we may have 5 or 6 in here, and I want to start chronologically, if we could, from the beginning of 2013, moving up to the murder, as far as the written communication moving up to the murder, and then I'll ask you more about the locations of the parties for the trips to Tallahassee after that.
Okay.
Okay, so if I could first turn your attention to March 6th of 2013. Is this an email from Donna Adelson and then the email associated with her is donnaharvey@gmail.com?
That's correct.
Okay. And when we're looking at some of these emails, does sometimes the name that it appears that the email is from, is sometimes that name different, even though it's from the same email address, donnaharvey@gmail.com?
Yes.
How does that happen?
It can happen in a few different ways. That display name is what we call it, is a kind of a separate piece of information that is attached to your email address. And in this case, the email is Gmail. It provides the email service. And you can go into your Gmail account and change your display name, or change the name that you want to come up when you send an email to someone else. Also, if you're using different email clients and you're checking your Gmail, maybe through your iPhone native mail application, you can also set a different name in there. So either changing it within Gmail or changing it within the email client that you're using, especially if you're using multiple different devices, it's possible to have different display names for that same email address.
Throughout the emails that we see in the records from donnaharvey@gmail.com, is the display name sometimes Donna Adelson, as we see here?
It is, yes.
Is it sometimes Donna Sue?
Yes.
Is it sometimes Donna and Harvey?
Yes.
And is it sometimes Harvey Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, so is this an email from Donna Adelson to Wendi?
Yes.
Okay, and is also a way of determining who sent the email, who signed off on the email at the end?
Yes, certainly the signature or content of the email itself.
Okay. Looking at this specific email, in this email, does Donna Adelson call Dan Markel a name?
She does, yes.
And what does she call him?
So I'll display that. What you see here on the screen is the actual email in the form that it was out of the return. And then when we emphasize certain areas, I have enlarged those. I made the font bigger. I did not change things like boldness or italics or punctuation, just made it larger and changed the color to red to emphasize the sections that we're speaking of. So to your question, she says this guy is a major fucker. I hope that your attorney is the shark that is her reputation.
And then in this email, looking down 2 paragraphs below, does it say, Gary told Dad yesterday?
It does, yes.
So in this communication, Dad is referred to in the third person.
Correct.
Okay. And just as you were saying before, can that give context about who sent the email so that it seems like mom is sending the email as opposed to dad from that shared email account?
Correct.
All right, and is this email signed off on?
It is not.
Okay. Looking 2 months ahead to May 21st of 2013, is this an email from Donna Adelson to Wendi Adelson?
Yes.
Okay, and in this email, does she say, wow, exclamation point?
Yes.
And says, he is such a royal jackass. How smart are you to get rid of this piece of S word? And then types out a scream.
Yes.
All right, and is this email signed off on?
It is, with I love you, Mom.
Were there also emails that showed Donna Adelson's strong interest in Wendi and her sons being able to relocate to Miami?
Yes.
Looking at another May 2013 email next, is this an email from Donna Adelson up top to Wendi?
Yes.
And in this email, what did Donna Adelson tell Wendi Adelson is the most important part of her divorce?
So this is slide 42 that we're on now, and we see that the most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable.
In the next slide, does Donna Adelson give Wendi Adelson some ideas of what she should tell the judge about how this is negatively affecting the lives of Donna, Harvey, and Charlie?
Yes, she does. Yes, the request to relocate with the children to South Florida, yes, was denied.
All right, and what does Donna Adelson say to Wendi Adelson in this email? So this one's from Donna Sue up top?
Correct.
Okay, and what does she say about their recent loss in court?
She encourages Wendi to never, never give up, and that it is time for action, time to take control of your life and not let Jibbers, which is a nickname for Mr. Markel, think that he's just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee.
And I think we've seen some of these, so let's go just quickly through the rest and go through the next one. In the next, does she appear to give Wendi Adelson a bit of a pep talk about what she should do next?
Yes.
Okay, does she say that the rest of their family's lives next will be determined by her performance in the next couple of weeks?
Yes.
And how he hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. She needs to put on the performance of her life. He hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet.
That's correct.
And she has a strong family behind her.
Yes.
Is next in this email where we see the plan of action outlined.
That's correct.
And if you could skip through, is this the plan of action about posing the kids in front of the Catholic Church and getting them baptized?
That's correct.
And assuring her that this is just an act, but don't tell anybody.
Yes.
And that she should take control of him psychologically.
Correct.
After this portion where she wants her to psychologically manipulate Dan Markel into converting the children to another religion, what does she say she plans to do next?
There's a plan of a financial offer to Mr. Markel.
Does she say, I am planning or we are planning?
It states we plan to make.
Does she go on to describe who this we is in the team?
She does, yes.
Okay, can we see that? And does she then detail how she, Harvey, and Charlie's lives have been affected by Wendi not being able to relocate?
Correct.
She says, it's time for you to show us you can put the performance of your life on for the next few weeks. What was a few weeks later?
The final divorce hearing.
Was that on July 31st and August 1st?
Yes.
Now, a day or two after this, does Donna Adelson then write another email about the relocation?
Yes.
In this email, if you can, okay, so this one's from Donna and Harvey, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. And if you can skip through to where she's discussing the extreme links. Okay, if we could see the next one. In this email, does she describe situations where people have to go to extreme lengths to accomplish their goals, like American soldiers in Nazi uniforms?
Yes.
And does she next suggest that a major act of defiance would be putting the boys in SS uniforms?
Yes.
Or Hitler Youth Youth uniforms. Next in this email, does she tell Wendi Adelson to stand up? It's all part of an act and we are willing to help you.
She does, yes.
And this is where she says that it'll put a scare into this jackass?
Yes.
Next, does Donna Adelson say in all capitals that Wendi needs to see the big picture?
She does, yes.
Okay, so you didn't add those were just in there?
That's correct.
And that her life in Tallahassee is not a pretty picture?
Correct.
And then finally in this email, does she give details of the financial offer again, the $1 million email?
Yes.
And does she say that, again, that we are planning, me, her, Charlie, and Harvey, and they want her to help too, Wendi Adelson?
That's correct.
And finally, does she say that they are a team and they cannot do this without her help?
She does.
All right, and then how is this email signed off?
Written with hope and love, Mom and Dad.
All right. Okay, this is the final email I'm going to show you today, or at all in your presentation. October 12th of 2013. So we fast forwarded a couple of months now. Looking at this email, what can you tell us about the email chain here as far as who sent the first email, who sent the second email, and who sent the final email?
So what we see here, again, emphasizing kind of on the content about what's being sent, but if we look at the email chain, we can see originally this is an email from Mr. Markel to Wendi Adelson, where Wendi Adelson has forwarded it to the Donna Harvey Gmail account, and then the Donna Sue has forwarded it to Charlie Adelson.
So in Dan Markel's email sent October 10th, the subject is general principles.
That's correct.
And in that email, does he reference that he wants a right of first refusal, an RFR?
That's correct.
What does that mean in this situation, according to him?
In this situation, if what he wanted was that if Wendi was unavailable to take care of the children, that he be given the first right of refusal before Wendi solicited her parents or anyone else to watch the children.
Okay, and then Wendi forwarded that on to the Donna Harvey at Gmail?
That's correct.
And then did Donna Sue then forward that email on to Charlie Adelson?
Yes.
And what did Donna Sue say to Charlie Adelson about the contents of everything that she'd forwarded to him?
That Mr. Markel was absolutely crazy and impossible, emphasized.
So this effer is sending this to your sister on a regular basis. He is absolutely crazy. She defines RFR, and she says impossible in all caps and exclamation points.
Yes.
All right, so the date of this email, is this October 12th of 2013?
Yes.
So she's sending this to Charlie Adelson, this information about how impossible Dan Markel's being, what he's doing to Charlie Adelson's sister, about 2 weeks before Halloween of 2013?
Yes, a little 2.5 weeks.
Okay. Judge, I've got a few text messages next, and then we're going to go into all of the location information. So I could go probably another 15 to 20 minutes and get through the text, or we could stop now, whatever the court prefers.
Just finish with the text.
Yes, sir. Was there also phone communication that showed Donna Adelson's venting to Charlie Adelson about Wendi Adelson's custody battle?
Yes.
Now, around the same date as this last email we saw, October of 2013, in this text message, does Donna Adelson say, "Horrible evening for your sister and for us. Dad finally had to walk outside to lower his blood pressure. Just awful. I can't even explain."
That's correct.
Who is she sending that to?
To Charlie Adelson.
And what does he say?
So this is slide 66. As we continue into slide 67 with the rest, she indicates Donna Adelson indicates that she's on the way back to Wendy's house with only one of the children, and Charlie responds, I bet, let's talk this week.
Okay, so she doesn't go into any more detail here, but she's describing how stressed Wendi is, and that's causing Dad a lot of stress, and it's just awful for her too.
That's correct.
And this would have been at that same time, or around the same time as the last email, about 2 weeks before Halloween.
Correct.
All right, so let's go to October 30th of 2013, so the day before Halloween of 2013. Here is does Donna Adelson say that she just got a text from Wendi casually mentioning that she's moving ahead with the purchase of a house that she liked. I guess she wants to do it before a certain date when she goes to England. And what does Charlie Adelson say?
That she had never told me. She never told me, meaning Wendi had not told her.
How does the conversation go after that? Is Charlie for this or against this?
Against it. He's asking Donna Adelson why Wendi would do it, and ask, of course, if Mr. Markel has given permission, all of those things.
Okay, and what's next? Is he afraid that Dan Markel will hold this against Wendi Adelson? Like basically like, well, now you've purchased a home here.
He would, yes.
And use it as leverage.
Correct.
What's next? And he says he'll try her again, but basically Wendi never gets back to him, basically.
Correct.
All right, what's next?
So we see, again, this is October 30th. We're on slide 72 now, that Charlie Adelson sends a message to Wendi stating that he would call her in 10 minutes.
Okay, what's next?
He, again, later responds that he must talk to her to please call him, and she responds that she's in court. She can call after 4.
Going through the text, does it seem like eventually they talk?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so they're still setting up a time to talk. Everything's okay. What's next? Does he then report back to Donna Adelson?
Yes. So we're on slide 75 here, October 31st. Charlie is speaking to Donna, texting with Donna, stating that he had spoke to Wendi and it thinks that he had made some headway, and hopes they're having a good time on vacation in Israel.
Okay, so the phone call between Wendi and Charlie would have happened before this message to Mom, or to Donna Adelson.
That's correct.
Okay, and how does she respond? Oh, I'm sorry. So then does Charlie check back in with Wendi?
He does, yes.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation.
He asks how she's feeling and gives her some general advice and tells her that he loves her.
And does that advice involve renting things as opposed to buying them?
That's correct.
Okay, and says, I love you.
He does.
What's next? Does Donna then check back in with Charlie?
Yes. So this is slide 78, again, still October 31st, and Donna Adelson is communicating with Charlie Adelson.
And what does Charlie say next? Spoke to Wendi for 20 minutes last night. She texted me today that she pulled the plug on the house. Smiley face with a lot of smiles.
Yes.
And that's at Halloween on 5:19 p.m.?
Yes.
All right, and how does Donna Adelson respond to this news?
She says, wow, Charlie, thank you again. How did you accomplish that? You are a miracle worker. Tell us.
Okay. So she's saying, thank you again. And she calls him a miracle worker.
Yes.
And then does Charlie lay out the reasons or how he was able to get Wendi to do this?
He does.
Which was kind of the same things he was pointing out to his mom earlier.
That's correct.
And says Dan would hold it against her and it would be the second dumbest mistake of her life.
Correct.
Without specifically saying what the first is, I guess.
Correct.
What's next? He's telling her how long it took to talk to Wendi about it.
Yes, and we're on slide 82. Again, this is November 1st of 2013, and he continues the conversation.
All right. What happened next? Or what's our next text message? Do we have one from February of 2014?
Yes.
Okay. Here does Donna say that Wendi is totally stressed out. Yesterday was a rough one. She'll probably have to go through another depot. Outrageous. Her attorney is abusing the system. I'm sorry. Her attorney will claim he is abusing the system by filing all these motions. And a $500,000 bank account is the same $50K he tried to get his hands on. And Charlie responds, crazy.
Yes.
Okay. What's next after Donna is venting to him about this? Does she say it's a total waste of the court's time?
Yes. I apologize, I went fast there. But yes, that it's a total waste of the court's time. This is slide 85. We're on February 15th. That yesterday he sent Wendi a text that he saw her leaving the school in our car at 2:07 p.m. He is stalking her.
Okay. How does Charlie respond to that? Oh, sorry. And then does Donna talk about wanting to get a protective order? But
Yes.
that's very hard to do if there's no threats or abuse.
Correct.
But a judge should know that she's being stalked.
Correct.
And Charlie says, I agree.
Yes.
Okay. Do they continue talking about the divorce here?
Yes.
Okay. What's next? And they're continuing to complain about the system, the judge that's assigned to the case, and Charlie says that complaining about the amount that Wendy's attorney is costing,
Correct.
and Donna's agrees.
Yes.
Okay, what's next? He wonders if she's mad at her attorney. How does Donna respond? Donna says she's too stressed. Let's keep her conversations with her light. Let's not add to what she's dealing with. Let's just get through Monday. Nothing stressful.
Correct.
Is there another text message on February 17th?
Yes. This is slide 92.
And on this, is Donna saying that she just left the courthouse?
Yes.
Okay. And how does Donna respond to how did it go?
She says, okay, we'll talk later.
Okay. And she gives some more detail about what happened in court.
Yes. Slide 95, still on February 17th, that the judge was really pissed at him for not paying Wendi, and continues.
Okay. And it looks like Wendy's still going to have to be deposed, but with strict limitations to questions.
Correct.
And she wants Danny to get psychological testing.
Correct.
All right, what's after that? They're talking about Danny getting a large bill.
Yes.
Okay, what's next?
So February 19th.
Is this more talk about the divorce proceedings?
Yes.
I won't make you read this whole email. I'm getting tired too. But basically in this email is Donna complaining about Dan Markel coming to the soccer game of the boys and wanting to play with them.
Yes.
And she calls him an F word here.
Yes. Couple of things.
And basically saying he's allowed to attend the children's activity when it's Wendi time, but that's it. He can't be spending more time with them than just attending.
Correct.
Okay, what's next?
This is now March 4th of 2014. We're on
Okay.
slide 98.
Okay, thank you. So on this day, so on March 4th of 2014, was there a text message in the records where Donna Adelson asked Charlie Adelson to erase a text that she sent to him?
There is, yes.
Okay, can you walk us through that exchange?
So again, this is March 4th. She is communicating with Charlie. She indicates 37 miles to Gainesville.
As in coming from Tallahassee going to Gainesville.
That would be correct, yes.
Okay. And what does she say here?
She says, I can't talk now, but I'll text you before we stop in Gainesville where I can go to the bathroom and have a moment of privacy. Then I'll call. Please pick up because I will have limited alone time today. Erase this text after you read it.
What does she send a few minutes later?
She says, we'll stop in about 5 minutes and I can speak to you privately about Dad's birthday gift when I'm out of the car. I have some good ideas.
What was the time difference between those two texts?
This text was at 10:42 a.m., and this is at 11:08 a.m.
Okay. So 20 minutes before, she's texting saying, we'll have a private conversation and erase this after you read it. Then she sends a text 20 minutes later saying, I can speak to you privately, and says what it's about, Dad's birthday gift.
Correct.
Does she tell him to delete that text where she said the subject of the private conversation?
There's no request to delete that text.
And how does Charlie respond?
He says great.
And then is there some communication after that where they're setting up this phone call?
Yes.
Okay, can you show us that? She's saying, don't call yet.
Correct.
Okay. She needs 5 more minutes until she can get to the bathroom for the
Yes.
private call. Okay, what's
This
next?
is 11:10 a.m.
All right, moving on to May 30th. In this text is Donna telling Charlie that she had a tough conversation with Wendi.
Yes.
All right. And this text message then is on the second to last day of May of 2014?
Correct.
All right. And through Luis Rivera, was it learned that there was not only a July trip to Tallahassee, but also a trip in June, at the beginning of June, where these killers came to Tallahassee?
That's correct.
All right. Judge, this might be a good stopping point for now.
Very well.
Thank you.